Play push from YFP, shot down by FlyQuest. Now this duo with the Rays.
There's a reaction. There's going to be a chain reaction on the attack instead.
What? That's the 30 bomb for Bob. The info on Ruka, but very well spotted. Very pushed up two defenders at B, causing YFP to now go in with more confidence, with Bunny Bee just handling it all on her own. Now needs to break in because the reinforcements are already here for FlyQuest to a favorable round, and Ev got blinded, and Kara just spawning a lot of members mid and having a good weapon to try and duke it out against them. YFP and going in blind to try and deal with this and taking damage in the random headshot. Kara is doing the Lord here in Garage. It's a 1v2 for Bob on the high ground. Shots just based on that, knows that Corrupt is out in the open. Smart for Bob. She wants to go through the door.
It's the best thing you got here at this point. You got 10 HP, you're playing against Bob, and you're hoping that your op is going to hit.
Holds the sight line. Silently walks over, and Bob. Showstopper would have been cool off the rip. The shoulder, and the double showstopper. Knowing that FlyQuest likes to flank sometimes, and YFP, it's a 1v1. Bunny Bee with the Guardian and a Rolling Thunder. And FlyQuest clean up the arena from YFP, but before Corrupt is able to clutch against both players from FlyQuest. And a 1v3. Here's the stopping from Hookah. One down, two more to go. Swings for the ace and for the save. Is the annihilation. It's no grab. Car remains alive and has shot through Hookah, and it was almost the ace to save YFP, but a sweep for FlyQuest awards them a grand final appearance.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Verizon VCT Game Changers NA Kickoff. We got a lot of exciting Valorant action yesterday and even more in store for us today with the grand finals ahead of us. My name is Sarah Dawn. I'll be your host for today. Joining me on the analyst desk, I have none other than yesterday's legendary duo. You might have recognized their voices from that little hype video. We got Lemon Kiwi and Vans. Jen, another great day of Game Changers. I can't wait.
Yes. Oh my God. We had bangers in the montage. We had a banger match yesterday, which surprisingly it went in a sweep in favor of FlyQuest, and I thought that was like a mini grand final in itself. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Wadada is going to fare.
Yeah, and at least two of those maps actually went into very close affairs on that second and third. So once you saw YFP really starting to wake up here, it looked like it was going to go the distance. But you had key players in FlyQuest like Bob doing the Bob things, and she was just unstoppable there for the whole series.
Bob was on one yesterday. I mean, we've gotten to see and follow Bob competing in challengers for a bit now, and she's been crazy there. And then yesterday was just... it was the Bob show. It like that. I was desperately hoping that they were going to go to a 5-map series so we could see all of the great action yesterday between the two teams. But I'm at least excited then that we get to head into today's series. And before we do that, of course, have to talk about what is on the line for these teams. Keyword, this is kickoff. So we're not looking at circuit points. That's going to be a discussion down the line. Instead, this is the opportunity to earn some cold, hard cash. Vans, try out those rosters, see what's clicking to be ready for the rest of the years with a lot of Game Changers action.
Especially when the offseason doesn't give you too many choices or time to really try to get your roster together in order to get ready for the open qualifiers up in March. This is a great opportunity for those that just said, okay, let's try things out to see if this works out. If it doesn't, then at least you still have a good 2-3 weeks to maybe shake things up a bit to really have your solidified roster for the rest of the circuit. But if not for this tournament here, it's still nice that you get to test the waters and also get a lot of money on the line.
Yeah, and this also gives a chance for our maybe higher up teams, like let's say a Shopify Rebellion, to hide their cards earlier on in the season. And this may not be just all the talent that we have. So I'm looking forward to seeing that open qualifier and who else is going to come out of the fray to challenge. But it also gives a chance for newcomers like Wadada, or at least some of the newcomers on Wadada, to get a chance in that spotlight.
I mean, with so much game changers action ahead of us for the year, being able to see what teams are already starting to develop and the players that have been popping off so far in Kickoff has been a treat. Looking over at the bracket and the action that we've seen so far, there is definitely familiar names here, Jen, when you're looking at some of these teams, the org names, and even if you're not necessarily the most familiar with a team name, a team like Wadada, for example, you're definitely familiar with the players on that squad.
For sure. And, you know, you've had your Teddy Tactics. There's a lot of familiar names in the Game Changer scene that are on the rise. I think this is a big year for talent to really show up and surprise us, and for veterans to kind of be humbled by the next generation of women and marginalized gender people coming in and really kicking butt. So I've been really excited this tournament. I really thought it was going to be FlyQuest and YFP in the grand final, and Wadada beat down not only YFP, but also FlyQuest and going to that decider map. So that says a lot on how this rematch is going to go.
And I also like the format that we had open qualifiers reaching to this point, and you're looking at the top 8, and you have newcomers such as Catnappers has a lot of new Game Changers players that have their first main event. But I'm also, as we talked about earlier on, the opportunity for rosters or new rosters to form together and test the waters. You still have, for example, organizations like YFP or teams like Teddy Tactics, for example, that have had main events showing for the last 3 GCs in NA. And, you know, it sounds like I'm glazing under a bit because he's casting a little bit later, but at the same time, you got to give him props for Teddy Tactics overall. It's 3 showings, and the one currently finishing at 5th and 6th has been their deepest run so far. So every single time that they're making a deep event, they're getting closer and closer now, and potentially could be the next YFP, who unfortunately always consistently loses at the 3rd place in every GC.
For some of these teams, I love to see that progression and the gradual improvement from the scene, because of course, being able to compete at these with especially some stacked veterans and stacked teams in the mix and be able to hold their own is truly impressive. But we got to talk about one of these teams that, well, when you're looking at one of these org names, you're looking at one of these stacked squads, this is it. FlyQuest Red. We got to see them face off in the lower finals yesterday. That was the best of 5, where they managed to clean this up in 3, and this is a bit of a different look than we've seen from FlyQuest Red in the past, but this squad of names, like, this is top tier.
This is a stacked roster on paper, and shout out to FlyQuest for supporting the Game Changer scene for as long as they have, and also kind of like letting their players explore real life opportunities, go to college, and even come back. Like, that's the story of Lace, of how she's kind of filled in for this roster. And then you have Sonder also at that veteran stepping in to guide the roster. You have Bob, who's had a huge year in her career with challengers in Blue Water. Kara, who is part of that championship run with FlyQuest, who wants to elevate their legacy, and Unstable, who continues to grow and is becoming that scary duelist to play against ever since their breakout days on Newt Newt. And this is just an org that I'm going to continue to really cheer on, because they really know how to build a good roster, but it's a roster that needs to stay together long enough to really, I want to see, reach their true potential.
Actually, now I'm going to sound a little bit contradictory too at the same time, because you talk about a team that should stick together and you're going to see good results. I personally would have seen the FlyQuest that we saw from last year, if this continue on into the same roster, that it would have probably be a much stronger roster overall. But whatever happened and you had the roster implode, I still, and then I go back to what you're saying here, Lemon Kiwi, the credit to FlyQuest still able to build a good team into a strong contending team around Sonder, and you're still able to push forward into the grand finals here. So despite that, despite what happened from last year until now, you still have a very strong contending roster.
And this is a roster too that was put together decently last minute. Liz was able to get words from Sonder yesterday talking about the formulation of this roster and how things came together, and that for this event is kind of just more pugging it out, and it's working for the team. I mean, hey, I love it. If you're out there, you're having fun. I think the words that were used was Bob and friends coming out from Gara there, but hey, it's working for the team, and considering the team was so new, I think every single match we're seeing more from them. It's just super, super exciting. But we gotta talk about the Bob and friends, because Bob has been a staple in this Game Changer scene since the beginning. You're talking about the old Cloud9 White days. We've seen Bob in Challengers. Bob is someone that has always been able to be putting up insane numbers, crazy numbers, and Jen, what she's been able to do so far in Kickoff is just crazy. Even hitting the 40 bomb yesterday.
Oh my God, Bob was bobbing all over. It was insane. And she has like a strong title to her, right? As the first Game Changers player to make it to a Challengers team and is still continuing to succeed, like I said about Blue Otter, but she also brings so many different roles, whether it's the duelist, the initiator, the Tejo, and she knows kind of how to fill in the gaps with the team, but her playstyle is what's really needed on a GC team. Someone that really radiates that confidence, because that could be something that misses in a Game Changers team. So I love what Bob brings to the table.
I could definitely see the what you were talking about here, Sierra, when you had the conversation with Sonder, and that it's a little bit buggy at this point because Bob is also competing in challengers at the same time. So having a practice or trying to build a practice around FlyQuest for this event is a little bit difficult. So you're going to have to think about your fundamentals and have a player like Bob do whatever she needs to do, like right here, by herself, getting an up kill and showstopper to get 2. I mean, that's already, you're starting the round on a 5 versus 2 pretty much, or a 4 versus 2 after Bob dies. So that means that you have at least players behind it. If the funnies are there to be able to trade, then you should be able to close out these rounds. So playing out in that sense, but still having good chemistry and teamwork is the name of the game here for FlyQuest.
Especially when you have a roster of people who have been competing in the scene for a while that have all been able to hold their own. They can lean into that pug play style because, I mean, we've seen them here before. They're just doing their thing. But now to talk on the other end, because FlyQuest, yeah, their run has been great. But Wadada was the team that made the upper bracket run to be claiming a spot into the grand finals. And this has been a team that has been so fun, so chaotic in that, just in the server. And this is a team with that chemistry as well, Jen. So Wadada, I mean, they're going to be formidable opponents for Kaleidoscope against.
Yeah, it's such an incredible story behind this team to make the finals against huge franchises like YFP and FlyQuest, to do it without losing a series. This was a team that was created around the YFP Lockdown Arena, where Power Pixel was that founding member, and even other known GC members like Bunny Bee and Sleepy Aria and stuff. So they finally landed on this roster in a lot of different amounts of experiences, but Power Pixel and Starbound being the biggest veterans to help guide these newer players who have competed with them with each other in smaller community tournaments. So there's a bit of chemistry in some of these duos.
Well, smaller chemistry in smaller tournaments, but also even at the GCC when they competed together for EGGC rather in Brazil. Unfortunately, they didn't have the best run over with EG, but still having that stage experience, the international experience for those two players, and being reunited in this moment is actually quite nice for sure. And you can already see it from the past games, the rematch that you currently have between Starbound and Power Pixel of this team of Wadada versus FlyQuest, where Wadada took over FlyQuest on a 2-1 fashion. It was really around Starbound's op, playing a lot of chamber, Power Pixel with their utility, and just overall the chemistry around this whole roster is actually quite good for Wadada. Although you have 3 other players that maybe aren't talked about as much in the GC scene because they're still fairly new, with the exception of maybe Australis, if you've watched previous GC in the past where she IGL with Sat Frost. But overall, this is still a really stacked roster, and this should be a very good series.
Yeah, Starbound, Power Pixel, these are going to be the very heavy hitters. What's so funny about Starbound is that she's only played Chamber in Kickoff, and she's really going to be impactful about conditioning the enemy team on where her route is, where she's going to pop up, whether it's the op or whether it's not. Like, Starbound is a huge part of those the first kill column, and if it's not Starbound, it's Power Pixel who are the top fraggers, and Power Pixel brings that initiation, the initiator role, I should say, and how they can get the ball rolling. So watch out for these two players and how they're going to guide this team to success.
I love that for Starbound, we've only seen this chamber coming out because it's played to such a high level too. So I'm down for it. Even if sometimes the team comps get a little wacky, a little silly, this is a team that has just really been able to perform. And I love when we're going to be able to see players on picks that are comfortable to them and still be able to perform at such a high level. And this grand finals, this isn't going to be the first time that we've seen these two teams face off against each other, because it was actually Wadada that sent FlyQuest Red down into that lower bracket up in that upper semis match. And that was a match too that it went to a 3-game series. It was one that I didn't even know how it was going to end up at some points. Right from the get-go, Jen, with that very, very first bind, it was just great stuff.
Yeah, FlyQuest had such a strong start where they had like a 9-3 half on Haven. They looked like they were just holding angles, getting picks, getting first kills almost every round. And it was Wadada that kind of needed to build momentum and to really figure out how they could activate someone like Sleepy Aria on the Neon, which had the moves, was breaking ankles. And then once they went to Fracture and Bind, Wadada, I think, found a lot of confidence and took control of the whole series.
That's it. If you're looking at the series overall from what we saw from the Splash, it wasn't really the right one. It would start off on Haven where Wadada starting off on the attack and it didn't have a chance to really get any or string any rounds for victories on the attack side. But really, just as Lemon Q was mentioned, as soon as we got to Fracture, as players started waking up a bit, the op from Starbound was super good. But I think overall, going into this third map here, it was a lot about Juna for sure. She went 5-0 against Bob. And overall, Wadada was really good on post plants and retakes and really strong on the attack side as well. So utilizing Juna as maybe like the third point of entry after she drops down those smokes, it's been a key factor right now to how Wadada was able to overtake FlyQuest in that series. So if you're going into this rematch now where potentially we could see Bind again, then you have to think about how you could shut down players outside of the two that we mentioned before, how it could actually stop Juna and get the most value out of Bob on that map.
And I feel like Juna is such a sleeper pick because they actually competed with Bob, with Fluorescent, with Power Pixel in a ton of Sakura Cup tournaments and were winning them left and right. And Juna was an initiator player with Bob, so there's kind of like a grudge match of going up against your former teammates, but there's a ton of former teammates in the GCC, so it's kind of hard. But exactly. Juna's just been that ultimate flex from Sentinel to Duelist to now a lot of Controller and has never qualified for a Game Changers, only has done these Academy and Sakura tournaments. So Juna just being kind of this rookie going up against their former teammate and just being on a stacked roster like this, I'm really excited for Juna's story to develop.
I love the call out for Juna being able to be 5-0 up against Bob in that final map, but also a team that when we saw these two teams face off, Bob dropped 33 kills on that map of Fracture, and FlyQuest Red still lost. So this is a team that, even if Bob is popping off, they still have the potential to be clutching these rounds, being able to work around her, and that it isn't like this terrifying final boss Bob. Bob is still terrifying, don't get me wrong, but Wadada more than capable of handling the task. So I cannot wait for the series. Reminder, this is a best of 5 as we head into our map picks and bans, with Wadada getting both of the ban picks coming, of course, from that upper side of things. Really hoping we get a full 5-map series, though. My hands are together. I am hoping, and we're kicking it off on Bind, Wadada's Pick Your Gen.
Yeah, and this was the final map from the first time that they had met, where Wadada won 13-7 against FlyQuest. And once Wadada kind of got things rolling, and once they were really warmed up, this was the series end, and they were able to turn things around, starting around Bind. So this is, I think, a very strong start for Wadada, and we were kind of laughing, Sierra, that they had banned Haven, one of their most played maps, just because that didn't really work out for them against FlyQuest.
Yeah, exactly. Now to be able to kick things off on their strongest map is off of Wadada, being 5-0 going into this GC. But also, if you're looking at the way that Wadada has been playing, they've been playing a lot of this just double Sentinel between the Chamber and the Deadlock, and then trying to combine the Deadlock with a lot of the Tejo/Raze utility around that area. So you're still having a good pack mentality around what Wadada has in terms of how they want to execute around the map, even if you're looking at all of these maps where both of these teams are not playing the most quote-unquote standard compositions ever. So they're just building their own meta and their own mold going into this game.
What I'm really excited for with this series, when I was looking back over the maps and what these two teams have been able to accomplish with them in terms of the qualifiers, in terms of just this kickoff in general, they're both looking good on these maps. Whether it's they're going up against a team where they were a little bit outmatched in that sort of way, so they're just kicking butt. It's just, regardless across the board, I think this is going to be a pretty close series altogether, Vans. And I'm curious with how Wadada is going to step it up now that they've seen more from FlyQuest, but FlyQuest, how they're going to adapt going up against the ones who had knocked them down to lowers in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as much as we say that Wadada is really good on this map, it's also a very good map for FlyQuest, as we've seen yesterday on how Bob has been playing it overall. So we'll have to think about how unstable, if they're still going to keep a Yoru in this composition for FlyQuest, if that could be that toe-to-toe matchup to face off and create that chaos against Starbound's aggressive positions that Starbound would potentially like to take in their role as a chamber. But It is going to be a game plan they're going to have to try to formulate here.
And what's going to be their controller of choice? Because I've seen Kara lock in the Clove on Bind. I've seen them lock the Brimstone. So just they've kind of floated, FlyQuest have floated around a lot of different compositions. And that's why we kind of brought it up that we want to see FlyQuest really master one thing, stick to one composition and iterate on it. So the controller of choice being Brimstone, I like that out of Kara. And Unstable, not on the Yoru that we were excited to see, but the Gecko, which is probably going to be good information. I thought a lot of times FlyQuest operated a lot around picks that weren't around any info, so any extra info off the Gecko would be great.
I love how you're like, I want to see FlyQuest lock in something they've seen before, and they're just like, absolutely not. We're bringing out different things. But I actually really like this idea, Bob. When you're been frying with this Raze, being able to have other supporting things lace on this guy, I really like that. And on the opposing end, Vans, this Teho that's so dangerous in Power Pixele's hands.
Yeah, for sure. This again, it goes back to what they're comfortable with, right? Trying to mix the compatibility between the Deadlock and the Teo with the Raze around working the attack side. But nonetheless, I want to go back to what FlyQuest was picking out here. You were both mentioning it, are not going into their regular picks, but this is still really good and standard that you currently see here on Bind. So Lace switching away from a Fade, playing some Sky, be able to flash out for information in the very beginning, but just Unstable, being able to be the one that's going to plant the spike here for the team so they don't have to fully engage into this whole combination of what Wadada could actually pull out here on their defense. That's actually one key factor here to avoid all of that and to avoid that chaos and fight in those post plans.
All right, well, it's time to get the grand final started here for the Verizon VCT Kickoff. We'll have to see if map choice of Bind, if it's going to go Wadada's way or FlyQuest can take it down. Time to head over to our casters, Ender and Doug. Take it away, guys.
Doug.
Thank you so much, Sierra. There are so many things we can talk about. I think first off, we talk about how Vincili just so stylishly pulls off a scarf. I can't do that. Chrissy, I know you can.
It's impressive, honestly. I don't even bother. I just wear the hat to, I don't know.
Well, we also got we got to talk about the comps, man. You were telling me a little bit about the controller approach on the side of FlyQuest. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little funny because Kara had been playing the Brimstone. Then yesterday we saw Kara switch over and lock in the Clove. Now Kara's back on the Brimstone, but also the Yoru's out of here too. So really, FlyQuest, I think, have just been trying to play a lot of different looks in this tournament. It's a little bit more puggy of a style of approach, but when you're going onto a map that you've already lost against Wadada, I think that there's definitely some benefit to trying to make some larger changes going into this one.
I mean, we're about to see whether or not those changes work out. Wadada, as we mentioned, on the attacking side, the Chamber, the Tejo, the Deadlock, and a little bit of presence towards A here. It seems like they're going to want to fight for this Shower Sword.
Yeah, just going to be pulling out that early wall from Sonder. Shouldn't be too hard for Sleepy to knock that one down, but realistically right now, Wadada are still trying to challenge for some space over in Hookah, figure out if they can play it around and dodge away from this crunch. I mean, Unstable just flying through the teepee puts Ari in a miserable position. Ari is going to be going down, and Wadada are going to have to get out of here.
Well, I think they have already. The spike is lagging a little bit behind, but they already have a ton of space B. They have the Deadlock wall up in spawn, so they did what feels to me, Christy, like a really good job of handling the aggression off the crunch, then taking the space. They're in a really good post plan here.
The awkward thing is, though, with Wadada putting down this wall towards CT and FlyQuest having two players come in on the flank, is it's hard for Wadada to flip that map and fight back towards spawn. Now they've got info, though, and can fight back in.
FlyQuest trying to work their way through a split approach. As a couple coming through, Sonder will be the first to fall. As Starbound, 2 clean kills back from spawn, forced to play behind the wall that we mentioned, leaving Bob in a miserable 1v4 with Ghost in hand. June is taking a little bit of damage. You've got 3 members on the side of Wadada that have light armor too. I don't know how Bob does this. I mean, Bob has been good, but 1v4 good, not going to be the case. Wadada gets the pistol.
I was going to say 1v4. I don't know if I hate those odds for Bob. Bob has kind of just been the best player in the universe so far this tournament. I mean, averaging 32 kills a game is just simply ridiculous. But like you were talking about, I think after this fight happened and Wadada fought into spawn, Starbound here, they're just always going to be good for theirs.
Yeah.
And really simplified the round.
It's a perfect start for them. Again, For Wadada, they've had a spotless record in this tournament coming in from the winner's bracket. I think there were 3 names coming into this tournament that we expected to be the ones competing for the top. These 2 being one of them. And wait a second, FlyQuest, what a response.
Yeah, that was really nice. Spike kind of out in the open too. The Sky Dog, with Blaze switching over to the Agent, is going to try and clear out that space, put down a deep Brimstone smoke, and Wadada, they can't really stop pulling away from the fight here. They've got to keep going for it or risk those rifles falling over to the hands of FlyQuest.
Forced into an uncomfortable position. They try to swing back out. Bob holding the line with the Bulldog, but Astralis better with the Spectre. And now Spike recovered, and the map is theirs.
Awkward round, though. FlyQuest have already rotated 2 players in. Now, granted, Lace and Sonder, they've got classics. So they're going to be holding hands with each other and trying to get some info back onto the map. But as Wadada gather themselves to move over into B, there's a really awkward decision that FlyQuest have to make. Do you go back and try to pick up some of those guns? Do you try and get that timing flank over on a anticipated B finish? And it looks like they want the rifles.
There's still plenty of time to play this out. And so, yeah, with those scooped up, a little bit more of equal footing. Again, touching on what Wadada has in this fight. An Outlaw for Starbound and a Bulldog for Astralis. The question is, how do they approach this? Lace doesn't have any util. Sonder, I mean, a little.
Yeah, I mean, I think Starbound's in a really good spot with 50 armor here, and they're just going to play from long, right? The first thing Wadada realize in this post plant is there's no smokes alive left for FlyQuest, so playing off-site, very valuable. If there's no flank coming in too, there's going to be some concern from FlyQuest that, hey, there could be someone posted up in hookah, so it's not going to be easy to clear all these angles, especially without any flashes left to Lace.
Oh, very well said. And that's the problem that they're going to have to solve, and they're going to have to do it quickly. The spike has been ticking for a little bit here, so pace is going to be the name of the game. Starbound with the tether. Outlaw, first shot, not connecting. Second shot does. Astralis cleans it up. The second round, messy, but the way of Wadada.
They think themselves are equals.
Yeah, FlyQuest really had a chance there to steal back that round, and I think already we're seeing a little bit of the difference with their composition coming in. Previously, Lace has been playing the Fade. The only flashes FlyQuest have been playing with on this map have been with the Yoru. So this round, they go for that teleport crunch play. They can combo Sky Flash plus the Gecko Flash and really fight forward into the faces of Wadada. That was just an eco round, but already they're making it look competitive.
Yeah, you take a look at the buy for Wadada coming into this. What would normally be a bonus where you're sitting on 3, 4 rifles, you know, something of the sort. You've got a Sheriff, a Bucky, a Stinger. That's just tough.
Yeah, it's not too bad for FlyQuest with full armor, knowing there's a Bulldog on the other side.
Right.
Check that out, though. Sonder fighting up. Oh, my God. With the crunch coming into the teleport as well. FlyQuest just wreak havoc on Wadada.
Astralis doing their best, though, to counterpunch, right? And to try to equalize things. But once again, a miserable 1vx situation. Astralis is down to 60 HP, too.
There's an ultimate to play with.
Surely not. Maybe if you get a kill here, that was snappy, but just too much to deal with. Way too much to handle. Ender, I'd love your thoughts on what was it that was so successful for FlyQuest there?
I think, again, FlyQuest have utilized the teleport great 2 rounds in a row, right? FlyQuest showed a little bit of a fight towards B long, and then Sonder just jumps up into hookah, pulls the attention of Wadada over into her, while 2 of her teammates are coming through the teleport with a Gecko Flash. So clearly Wadada are being a little bit caught off guard by this early snapping of the teleports, and FlyQuest are going to keep trying to lean into that.
We've seen it all 3 rounds now, right? I mean, the first 2 were the showers crunch, and then what we just saw, they've been very proactive on the defensive side, and I think it's going to have to continue.
I 100% agree. Especially because the last times FlyQuest have played this, it's been a lot more about letting Bob on the Raze or Unstable on the Yoru take sort of opening duels. This time it's Starbound with the op, and really good jiggling from Lace is going to figure out what did I pick that up.
Whoa, clean out from Sonder.
I love that little bait and switch setup. Lace just trying to take all the attention, and then Saunders on that angle. Really nice double hold on B, and it's going to force Wadada to move over into the 3 stack of FlyQuest A.
Note here, Unstable currently going to be the first one to take some of that contact and is 1 point away from having their ult.
Just happened on short.
Oh, this could be trouble. I don't know. Bob will fall in Sable's position. Concealed. There it is. But overwhelmed. Forced down. And we'll get 2 for their troubles. But
look at the spike, Doug.
yeah, this is tough for Juna.
A Molly to play with, no smokes. Now FlyQuest are going to double up. Sure, Saunders low. Sure, that Spike is close to the teleporter, but Juna's going to have to take this timing really quick here. And with only 20 seconds, I think she might just have to commit into A here if she doesn't pick up the pace.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to go now. Oh, well, we're going to try it. Lace up the Nike, see how fast you can go. 10 seconds left.
Stun,
Through
not
the
the
TP
stun.
and the stun
She doesn't
will
have
be
it.
the difference maker. There's no way now. Right? Surely.
I mean, she has the plant.
Well, committed. A Molly in the hands of Juna. Oh, it's gotten down to a 1v1. Saunders slowly creeping out onto the site. Oh my goodness, what a play from Juna.
That was disgusting, Doug. The 3 came from Juna. Plants with a second left on the clock. I really thought the stun was going to buy enough time for FlyQuest to just get out on back site.
Me too.
But while they tried to rush on out there, Juna just expertly takes that timing to get the fight. I mean, again, those 2 players left in the clutch started off the round perfectly. Unstable did their job here too. Gave a beautiful position for FlyQuest to play the post, but Juna with those little jiggles, just chef's kiss.
The jiggles and then the snap too was most impressive. Now Wadada in a really good position where they have Juna's ult. Astralis still has their ult. And they've got a really good money situation going on here.
So FlyQuest, Bob with the hero Vandal. That'll be their only real chance to win the round. But look, if Bob can get a couple of kills, there's a showstopper. There's opportunities.
This feels like a really good time to ask this question, Ender. Does FlyQuest, you know, Sonder was joking about it on the interview yesterday. Is FlyQuest the Bob and friends? Does FlyQuest need Bob to average their 30, 40, 50 kills, however many they average, in order to win the game?
32.
32, 50, you know.
Yeah, it's close enough. Honestly, no. I think FlyQuest have the talent. I think up against Wadada, though, you need Bob to be playing on peak form. And we saw in their previous matchup, Bob had 2 great games. I mean, Bob was, I think, 72 and 30 something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
and they
something
still lost
silly.
the series.
Oh, that nade's off the mark.
35 seconds, actually. Doug, it might not be so simple, especially if FlyQuest hold on to Shower's control.
They need to win this fight out. There's so much on Arya's hands here. You found one now, double face. And it's not getting any easier for Arya. Having to take a step back, yeah. So the thing is, off of that, they get a lot of space up short. FlyQuest has been able to hold them back for now. Astralis is cooked. You're right. This was not easy, and it never really converted unless Starbound could just frag their way through. 10 seconds left. Spike again scooped up. Kara has ult. You use it here? No. The Molly will hold it back. The round is secured.
Oh no. Wadada just eat up too much of the clock on that one. And by only sending one player into Showers, even though FlyQuest ended up, I think, trading 1-for-1 over there, it just made it impossible to plant the spike. Wadada didn't have the time to play with. Bob didn't even find a kill, but the attraction that Bob was able to sort of pull by swinging through the smoke just let all the sheriffs of her teammates get the job done.
Everything you could possibly ask for there. And now the money situation has flipped entirely. Now all of a sudden we're talking about the old stack heavy on the side of FlyQuest. You've got a ton of rifles. You've got full armor. And now it's Wadada who has to convert something off of a weapon, an ult here in this cans of Starbound.
Yeah, Starbound will be the hero, much like Bob was supposed to be last round.
Right.
But look at what Bob has actually done up short. FlyQuest sort of escorted her forward, then sent out Wingman. Now Bob's fully cleared out A lobby, so it's very easy for FlyQuest to rotate 2 players over from A onto the B site and fully stack this against the eventual hit.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. You're right.
Because if they ever go back into A, look where Bob is. Bob's getting 5 kills, and no one even knows where she is.
And we have to mention it again. Bob is one off ult. Just kind of keep that in mind, depending on how the rest of this round plays out. This situation is not getting any easier for Wadada to get out onto B as well.
Oh, yeah. Sonder jumped up into hookah. Sonder has gone for that a couple of times now. That's something we'll keep watching, but that position is going to be deadly when stalling out these 5 players coming into long.
Just waiting for the right button to go. Juna still has all of her smokes. Harpixel's one off the ult too. Never mind. It's cooked. There is no entrance onto the site whatsoever. Kara and Lace side by side holding the line. A massive response from FlyQuest.
And we're all tied up. FlyQuest win one eco round, snowball that into another, keep things competitive. But this is going to be the round that I think really determines things, right? Look, we've got 3 ults, almost 4 for FlyQuest, 1 ult, almost 2 for Wadada. Wadada buying down to nothing and making sure they have an operator in Starbound's hands. So really, this is the round that sort of decides the pace, decides how the rest of this half is going to go.
Heavy investment that way. And it does seem like it's going to be a lean A. Most of the stack B from the defense. Big from Unstable to deny that info early.
Ooh, I'm worried about a Showers crunch from FlyQuest already. The forward position of Unstable, Lace next to the teleport, flash ready to go, but Wadada in front of it. The Brimstone ultimate baited out, Astralis finds the opener, and now they're in a 5v4.
Still a couple volts to play around for FlyQuest. But the stack is headed back A. They're guessing correctly.
FlyQuest still have Showers. So Wadada might be forced to go for a later teleport into B. There's a wall there, there's Deadlock Suns, and Lace has been on it so far.
Go ahead.
That nade will not feel good. They hold, invested, trying to wreak havoc onto the side, and so far succeeding. Deadlock's going to drop one of their own. As you've got PowerPixel, who's been freed from the tether.
Look at Bob. Look at this boost.
Such a good spot. But there's obfuscated by the smoke.
Ay, ay, ay.
Connecting, but Astralis is on the trade. Betrayed by the Tracers. And now the spike planted, and a mess for FlyQuest.
You never see a choke like that out of Bob.
No.
Missing the spray, falling off the ledge. Now, everything's on Kara. The only forward position for FlyQuest in the 2v5.
Ender, you mentioned that this round was really going to set the pace for how the rest of the half would go. I did not expect to be like this, where once again FlyQuest had been kind of pushed around.
And really, FlyQuest, even though they lost that first player, I think they had the position to be able to shut it down. Because realistically, okay, if FlyQuest win this round, Wadada, they're broken for another round of Econ. They use one of their big ultimates, right? Like FlyQuest are going to be able to put those rounds together and keep it carrying through. Very close to the end of the half. Now Wadada, saving 5 rifles, perfectly boosts their Econ. FlyQuest are going to call a timeout. And Wadada are looking at another 2, maybe 3 rounds where they're going to be buying and having big ults come online.
Really well set up for how the rest of this half can go. I was reading the minimap and I was leaning the way you were thinking too around, okay, there looks like there will be a Showers crunch here. They're posted up for it. You mentioned Unstable in the really aggressive position in Showers, but it was like this start and stop that they just kind of sputtered through the initial part and then they got overwhelmed on site.
Yeah, it's a hard timeout as well, I think, for FlyQuest, because I don't think strategically things went very wrong for them. They had like the crunch they wanted to do. I guess the Brimstone ult didn't quite connect, and I'm not sure what the micro detail was there that went wrong, but I really do think that was just a succession of micro problems that caused the round to completely run away from them.
And you're right. Ender, as a coach, what do you say in a situation like that? Because you're right, it did not feel like the macro was the issue.
Sometimes it's just about like screwing the head of your IGL on right and making sure like, hey, no, like the setup was right. Because sometimes like if the IGL isn't part of a play, they might think they really messed things up when in reality it was like, no, we actually should have just hit that shot, whatever. But also it could just be resetting the sort of macro of the game, because FlyQuest, they've been playing so actively on A. Now it's 4 players towards the B side. They've completely switched their setup.
All missiles away.
Well, after the brief chat with their coach, we'll see what adjustments take place. You mentioned of heavier lean towards B.
I see it. So they faked, they put that Brimstone smoke down long B to try and pretend like they're really fighting up on B and that's their strong side. But now they've shifted back into having 3 players over towards A, and the first contact on B would be the Rays to really try and sell again that it is a fake B stack.
Note here the info that they got as well. Lace dog through Showers, and it was pinged on the minimap. Wadada saw it. They've been playing so far back at the beginning of this round that they do at least have an understanding of what's A as well. I just think you're right. They're not expecting the Brim.
Yeah, and Wadada, they know something is weird about this round.
Right.
They don't exactly know what it is. So again, being like, oh, there was no re-clear and not getting a ping off that drone, I think they think it's going to be like a deep A stack, I imagine, from Wadada. That's what they're trying to walk out of. And now with these Seekers coming in, 40 seconds left, hold on. FlyQuest can just stack the B site. This is too easy.
They're going to have to rotate quickly, though, because there are only 2 members there currently, and the sensors will help. But again, it's got to be hot to trot. Saunders already fallen, but Lace is filled in on the space. Bob getting high ground with the rocket, not connecting. Traded back by Arya once again. Nothing for nothing. Harpixel is falling as Arya swings back sight, takes care of one, tries to go for a second, finds it. And it feels like it's just a slaughter at the hands of Arya.
Bit of a mess of around there, but Arya's finding all the kills they need. Nicely done. Now stepping back into Wong. Car's out of smoke, so it's a good post-plant position for Wadada. Molly to work with, too.
You somehow have to try to convert this 2v3, and it just went from hard to harder. Arya, again, lighting it up. 3 kills on the round for them, as Wadada are flirting with their 5th. And Ender, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, too, because it really feels like these rounds are really close until one thing happens. And when the chaos happens and one thing goes the wrong way, it's never going the way of FlyQuest.
I'd say the wrong thing at the start was it's another round where Wadada found that opening pick, right? So in that round, I think it's Saunder taking that forward line over towards B long. She ends up getting sniped off. So it's Bob in a solo hold. And the second thing that went wrong is Bob pops the showstopper, and there's a flash that hit her. And I think it might have been Lace's flash too. See, Saunder dies up there, and then, okay, we don't actually see the showstopper play, but I think Lace accidentally team flashed Bob, and it meant that the hold just really didn't happen. It allowed Ari to sneak up all the way onto site.
And as you were mentioning, that was after already losing Saunder on site, before they had even fully taken hookah.
Yeah. Remember,
Tough spot to be in.
Wadada are playing a no-flash comp, so it should be much harder to breach into these sites. It's only through finding opening picks and manipulating the map of a round that they should be able to sort of bust their way in.
Or team flashes.
Or a team flash, yeah. You can ask for those sometimes. I'll chat. Hey, Lace, can you send your hockey?
First smoke used towards A. The drone's getting a little info. Meanwhile, this feels a little bit different from Starbound. Alone towards B. Expecting some of that early aggression on the rotate, on the flank, once they feel the hit A.
High-low setup in backside right now with Bob's operator. Sort of standing right behind Kara for a moment. I like this though. Once again, FlyQuest, they throw down that mid-round deadlock wall in hookah. Skyflash out long, sees nothing, so this A-stack is perfectly ready for the hit.
They've had the numbers advantage before. Oh!
Someone break that, please! Oh my god, it just keeps happening!
Again, Arya, it was the Roomba and then it was the nade, but it's a tragedy of errors on the side.
And they caught Kara with the ultimate!
This might be the difference maker, though. The op in the hands of Bob. Yes, Kara is down. Now they have no smokes, but they still have a fighting shot at this. And they convert. Arya turning off the flash. Again, magnetic from the duelist. Bob trading back, though. Numbers the way of the attack. And time is not on their side. Do you save the op here? Do you try to fight for this round? I mean, you're getting late in the half. Starbound connecting onto Bob. Now Lace has a very difficult question to answer. Decides to swing into 3 and falls for it. Wadada get up to 6.
That's just crazy. Again, 3 rounds in a row, Wadada find the opener, and this time it just being off of the silliest utility chaining into the corner there. I mean, look at that. Unstable has absolutely nowhere to go. Maybe, you know, last time they played Bind on the Yori, you can TP out of there, but there's no way out from that spot on the Gecko.
The game has changed, some might say.
A lot of people have been saying that. They've been saying it for a long time, as a matter of fact. It's still Valorant.
10th round of the half. Lace playing with fire. Oh,
she loves that though. Remember against the op on round 3? Hasn't been punished yet.
Oh, but that's still scary. That's still so scary.
You still hold your breath for a moment.
Oh, again, really aggressive.
That's the spike.
It's not off the crunch, but now it's Unstable who's getting the opener after getting bullied the last couple of times.
I think there's a little fake wall put unstable in front of that one to find the pick. Spike was recovered, and Astralis really was hoping to come up with something there on the hookah fight.
Spike recovered and space gained.
Once again, FlyQuest have the players in the right position. Well, this time Wadada are slowly walking it back over into A. Might be the first time we've ever seen Wadada hit the weak side of the map.
Yeah. And they still have a 3-round lead.
Madness.
They don't really, I mean, what go buttons do they have here? Arya has 2 satchels. No ult yet.
It's satchels and the smokes, really. It's just about good spacing on this hit, making sure you can trade each other out. Not going to happen after a shot like that.
Oh, no trade that time. Mosh dealing some damage, getting a 3rd on the round for unstable. Kara joining in on it. Juna's going to have to 1v3. And they cannot.
Yes, the answer to what go buttons they have is not many, truthfully.
Not the right ones, anyway.
No, in reality, with Wadada's comp, you do have like the Tejo blast, maybe a breach molly, like paint shells, things to like force people away from angles, so you can sort of isolate the fights you're taking when you go into sight. But it is a much harder comp to sort of execute with, especially when you're down a number, because you kind of need some cannon fodder when you're jumping 4 players in through one choke point without any flashes.
Right. And that was definitely what was lacking. I mean, none of that there.
I mean, they had plenty of cannon fodder.
Arya with ult. Arya had ult. Never mind. We'll use it in the next round, you presume.
I don't know about
Trade
that.
back, though. Yeah.
Sandra was still getting active with. I mean, Kara's holding things down over on A site. You're not going to want to mess with her anymore.
Wadada have been forced into this very uncomfortable position where they have no space anywhere on the site, and they're down or on the map, excuse me, and they're down numbers too.
Oh, that smoke is so annoying for Starbound too. All they wanted to do was take a aim fight over towards A, pick off a player, pull a rotate. And now, Wadada without any real chance of clearing Lisa's operator in hookah. At least she's not going to have much of a fight out of hookah onto them, you don't imagine?
You wouldn't think. But surely you have to understand too that you may have lost the sight here, right? You've got to know that Octagon is weak.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to smoke off hookah for now. Luckily for Lace, I mean, that barrel is long. If Wadada had just cleared a little bit, a few more steps, Lace would be dead.
Pretty average size, if you ask me.
Yeah, okay. Okay, buddy. Wadada, they're all playing for their ones in this post plant. Starbound has a TP set up, the op ready to go. They're right underneath each other, the ops! They're right on top!
Starbound. Oh, that's going to give it away. The TP at just the right time. Spotting both. And now they understand where a lot of the threat is. They're going to try to take the fight into their corner. And they do. It's all onto Astralis now. Trying to spam it in smoke, connecting with 4 bullets left and 3 targets to find. That math does not add up.
Okay. The absolute closest.
We all held our breaths right there.
I mean, look, it's a great call. Get that ult orb over to Bob. She's got it ready for the final round, but I don't know if I would be doing it, cutting it that close on a finals. I don't know.
Yeah, you play to win instead of play to not lose.
I suppose. Maybe that's the difference here going to the last round, because I mean, FlyQuest might have 4 ults ready to go here to tie things up.
Oh, what a mess that would be. Power Pixels one off of their ult. Oh, Bob. Again. Danger.
Quick reposition into showers. Bob might try to get back in front of that Tejo util, but again, just clipped through the wall. Ultimate comes on through, and it doesn't connect.
Very reminiscent to the play we saw behind yesterday, but now Arya with the trade back, and Bob wins out the fight. Rockets be damned. Bob gets another with the op. They still have Kara's ult too, but Bob might win it all on their own. Make that 4 for the duelist. We're tied at 6.
Wow. Okay, Bob waking up here towards the end of the half. 11 kills on the board up there with Unstable. But really, I kind of want to shout out Kara. I think for FlyQuest, the big difference in those last 3 rounds they strung together is they were finally winning those opening fights. In that last round, Bob eventually got the kill, but Kara had just kept A short on lockdown and really brought FlyQuest back into this game.
That was exactly what they needed. I mean, putting together those last 3 rounds, it's a night and day difference.
This is where things get interesting, though. FlyQuest, they're playing a brand new comp coming into this map that they lost previously against Wadada. And a very different play style, too. I'll tell you, from prepping against FlyQuest, Lace was kind of the goat at lurking into showers and playing this A side. But it's a lot harder to play self-sufficient lurking on the Sky compared to the Fade.
A lot of pressure for Tuka. And that 2 for 1 there really opens things up for FlyQuest. I think the other benefit is they aren't fully committed out to this on to B. They fully split their investment and they walked away on top everywhere.
Yeah, and that was kind of my read on FlyQuest, is they don't like to overcommit in rounds unless it's to long B. Outside of that, they'll sort of play their different lanes. Now they're working up into A, but always keeping that option to TP alive.
Starbound was a menace with the Headhunter on the first pistol of the map. And there's the need for Starbound to deliver once more. 3 bullets with it. Just have so much space. They have to clear a car with light armor. Still healthy. Into this double, triple phase. Traded 1 for 1 and... And again, it feels like time is a big factor here.
Yeah, it is. Starbound trying to find that fight out from triple, but a 1 for 1 isn't good enough. With it all coming down to Power Pixel, with players split around, back triple, down on short. I mean, there's just not enough time in the world to get these kills, let alone defuse the spike.
Well, we say that, but it's gotten down to 1. You stick it to half and then try to take the fight. You're going to get the kill, but Power Pixel's not going to have enough time to get the defuse, and so the pistol goes away FlyQuest, and it was a scrappy one.
They got really active, sort of fighting back over into U-Haul. And honestly, it's one thing that I didn't really anticipate with FlyQuest comp or mention, but by going for the Gecko and having Wingman to be able to plant the spike, it does allow them to play way more actively into backside A, even having the double flash combo to keep fighting forward. I think we're going to see a much more active FlyQuest than we've seen in previous maps on this bind.
Which is a breath of fresh air. And I think it's exactly what they need up against Wadada today.
Yeah. My experience playing against FlyQuest is Bob would sort of fight you backside all the time, but the rest of the team would play reserved, make sure you're securing the round. I think that might change a little bit in this half.
They've let loose a little bit here. Arpixel, the only one with investment, and now and Marshall sits harmlessly on the ground. And they're going to try to speed up through this and try to get out on A. And they're going to succeed. You're just going to mow over the lighter weaponry that Wadada has been able to bring into this round.
The hunting comes in too, right? Unstable wants to be able to grab an orb. Kara's going to sneak it away, but again, Bob. This is what I'm talking about. Bob is always fighting you backside. She is unstoppable, and that's already 5 ult orbs grabbed for her.
I mean, at this rate, you're looking at an ult in, what, 2 rounds?
At least getting within touching distance of it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Charles is just trying to do their damnedest to die to the spike. Won't even be allowed that. A flawless round for FlyQuest. And you start to think about what the next round holds. They carry over a Guardian and a Bulldog and an Outlaw.
Now, Wadada did overbuy just a little bit. You can see, right, Astralis, she's forced down onto light armor. Power Pixel bought a Sheriff in the last round, I think, so it's going to be heavy armor and a Guardian. This is sometimes the choice you have to make, where on defense, you anticipate the attacking team doesn't always go for the Outlaw, so sometimes you can buy a little bit more, but it makes your anti-bonus just that much weaker.
That looked right on the mark. I mean, that looked dead on. I don't know. I
usually trust that Bob's hitting those, So
yeah,
it must be a server issue. It's got to be a server issue. I think
absolutely
that's the only explanation.
We give Bob the benefit of the doubt on those.
Oh my! Starbound picking the exact right timing to repeat Kuka.
They're fully committing onto this. I thought they were just going to clear out the utility, but instead, they try to slam their head into this wall. Let's be. And they're not able to stand up against a fight. They haven't gotten back sight. You've just now got Arya, who's rotating over. Starbound doing their best, but it's fallen down to a 1v1, and Starbound's going to win it out.
Absolute
I really
insanity.
thought they weren't going to commit.
Yeah, I have no idea how Starbound stayed alive there. I mean, their right shoulder is up against a deadlock wall. They're crouched. They're in full open trying to pull the crouch out of themselves. Like, what is going on? And the fact that they're the ones that are last alive there with the 3K, I mean, respect, but how did that happen?
What a mess. What a mess. The buy for Wadada here is interesting. A judge for Arya. A bulldog for Juna. Light armor on 2.
And Bob's got the showstopper. Here it comes.
Speaking of which, it's not going to connect. It's going to deal a little bit of damage. You can tell Bob just wants to go. You were talking about how they're basically fighting you back sight no matter what. And it seems like that's part of the plan.
Uh-oh. Sonder just jumped into teleporter. And I don't think that was intended.
No.
Only 4 players left on this site.
But that might be enough. Yeah, Sonder, perhaps the mishap goes through without punish. In fact, she's going to come back and see there's an even bigger numbers advantage than they had before. FlyQuest are in a position to run away with this thing, and if they continue to put this together, we might be talking about Lotus very soon. The money's not going to be great for Wadada. They have to be able to hold here, but they're crumbling.
At least get some rifles out of here. I mean, FlyQuest, that's a near perfect round. It was unstable at the very end, but yeah, breaking Wadada's economy, building up their own, making it that clean too. You couldn't ask for much more out of a round like that, and really, it was such a strange one, because there's the util kill that Unstable gets with the mosh pit, then Unstable lands the thrash onto a backside player. There's no one coming out of heaven to help that player out. Everyone's trying to flood out CT, so the round sort of played itself from FlyQuest, even with the strange teleport shenanigans going on.
Two buckies for the defense. Right. That's exactly what they needed. Juno's one off ult. Arya's close to their ult. I just don't know how you convert this into a round win.
Yeah,
the problem is right now. What's what you need?
Scatting out the deadlock there.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, Arya.
there's one.
Okay, Astralis.
2. Make that 3. Arya still with the Bucky. 44 HP though.
Launching smoke.
Walls
Gap in that.
Yeah, there is. It's ever so slight, but it is there. What was that? How does Arya get away with 3?
That's just unbelievable. The gap in the wall. They just sneak on through. I mean, look, the Buckies did their job. At least the one. Arya starts it off by pushing out of lamps. Once she realized there's no one coming to them, they push on out. Then they go backside, get the jumping Bucky for a couple of kills. I mean, it's just silliness.
Wait, surely we're going to get a look at that again. Astralis getting 2 big ones with the Sheriff there was huge, but this right here is just... What game are we playing here? What is that?
I don't know, but we're moving and we're still killing people. And now the whole script shifts, right?
Yep.
Wadada, now they've got 3 ultimates. They're gonna have 5 in the next round as well. Their money's good. There's an Odin ready to go. I mean, Sleepy Arya is boosted on that box cubby with an Odin. That's not a real position, chat.
No. But this time it can hurt you.
Oh my word. And Astralis could even do a little bit of baiting, a little bit of a net Tejo combo play, just slightly off on the timing. Nearly netted a kill.
I'm just glad we're not going to see something funny again, like the Bucky
You're
nonsense.
such a shill.
No, I'm saying I'm glad I'm not.
I'm also reading chat, Doug. I know your game. You can't sneak that one past me. But look, FlyQuest also know Wadada's game. That's what we call a smooth transition, because they're going away from that stack over towards A into a B pop.
They're going to find a lot of space on the site too. I mean, Juna's playing an elbow, has ult, and that might be it. It might be, hey, off contact, drop the molly, pop the ult, and hold on.
Hello.
Oh, Juna just faces outside of the smoke, takes the fight, and dies.
That's just way too much. With Starbound
Way
teleporting off
too
the
much.
site, can't do that.
the wall. They get the spike down. Hear the Odin rattling off. Meanwhile, Shaw is slowly swinging out. The right, proper Belter shot on Sander. Arya connecting with the ult. Traded right back, though. And things just got so much harder. Bob is left to die, leaving Unstable alone here. It's essential. It's a 1v3 at this point. And the defuse has already gotten 3/4 of the way through. There's not enough room for the swing out for Unstable. We're tied at 9.
That's just a monster round out of Astralis. I mean, look, Wadada, they lost the player over towards Elbow. And yes, they have 2 ultimates, but that choke from B towards spawn is the worst choke in the game to try and get out of. So the fact that Astralis snipes the first player with rifle, then opens up, breaks that first crossfire so that actually the Raze rocket can get through. So Astralis can actually, you know, peel off that player in tube as well. That first kill is what did everything on this reason.
Borderline impossible situation for when we're right into the action. The 19th round afoot. Ult has already been used. There's no question about this. They're going to try to split out on A. Ult invested back sight. The trip has already been triggered in showers. He's going to be traded back. There's no way out of there. Surviving just barely. Sander down to 73 HP. Picks up the orb. Now has ult. Will they find their mark?
Oh,
Yeah.
Spike planted.
cold shot.
Between Starbound's ult, Power Pixel's position. But the thing is now they've gotten a lot of the hard job done. They've gotten the spike down. Now the onus is going to be on Wadada. The impetus is going to be on them to move. And that's hard to do with some of what they have.
Well, look at the crossfire. Power Pixel out of heaven. Trades out, helps the kill onto Bob. That sets up for the op. There's a pixel there narrowly missing on the kill, but now Wadada, they're on the spike.
2 ults invested. Space has been gained. Starbound trying to hold the line with the ult, and there's not going to be any way for Sander to get back into this, I don't think. I mean, you've got to take the molly.
Dying to molly.
There's too much there.
That was a masterclass from Power Pixel. I mean, Wadada, they're trying to take that fight out of lamps. And Power Pixel just comes full out of hookah, gets that kill, drops down the ultimate, forcing the players that are still alive on FlyQuest into showers, at which point we've got mollies to stop the swing, we've got the op posted up. I mean, that was beautiful. Look at that.
That crossfire that you mentioned. Yeah, you're right.
So we've got another Odin round.
And a stinger for Kara. I feel like the economy is never really settled. All right, we're back to the silly.
Oh, it's real silly. We are having deadlock net in hand so that we can net all of the players on A short so Arya can just hold down left click and mow them down.
Literal fish in a barrel.
Spike down A.
It really, Ender, it really felt like for a little while there, FlyQuest was in a position to run away with it. They had decent money. It felt like momentum was their way. Their ults were peaking at the right time, but 4 rounds in a row now for Wadada.
They've had the good stacks. I mean, but also it's not like Wadada have just been like outclassing in these 4 rounds. Like round 19, I think, is round FlyQuest were in a beautiful position to win. They just sort of got bested on retakes in round 18 and round 19. That B retake with the double ults. The last round there we just saw. FlyQuest need to clean things up in the post. Obviously the last round they just got completely bottlenecked on A short.
Right.
Maybe they need some more time to play out the round, talk about how they're going to deal with this Odin, because that is just silliness. But realistically, they can't let these retakes keep working out against them.
No, I mean, you're right. The retakes continue to be a problem, and as you were mentioning out, the Odin's on the board. I think, and can you even really be thinking about that if you know you've got to solve for that too? The equation just got so much more difficult.
It's more just like, okay, we probably, if we're going down A short, we have to be flash comboing with Sky and Gecko, because right now there's only one person, I think, looking to break a Dizzy. If we can flash the Odin off the angle, it's going to be way easier to get in.
Sure.
But also, it's just another econ for FlyQuest here. They don't have the money to go for a hero rifle, even though Bob could, in theory, upgrade into an ult this round. So really, they're going to be banking everything on coming back and winning 3 in a row once Wadada are up on 12.
this defensive setup on B too is, I mean, look at all of that utility.
So annoying. Yep.
Forget it.
And the thing is, FlyQuest, yesterday they played against double Sentinel. It was a Cypher instead of a Chamber, but it was the Deadlock too. But FlyQuest also had Yoru. So they had double dive, they had Yoru clones to break a bunch of the utility, to get past it as well. They don't have such easy options this time around. So they have to take their time a little bit more, figure out what the Deadlock util is, wait out the wall, and eventually go for a split hit. But what it means is more chances for the ops to creep and more chances for the Odin to crush you. And that's exactly what
Not
Arya
again.
is doing. I mean, come on, not again.
I thought they might hesitate given what they heard clear out the Tog, but no, they decide to go back into A and they decide to dance with the Odin once more.
One enemy remaining.
Unfortunately, it seems like they have 2 left feet here. It's a mess, and yes, it was an eco, but very little damage done.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Wadada, they're never going to be ecoed again for the rest of the half. If we're going out, even if they lose the next 2 rounds, they're still going to be able to buy. So the job does not get any easier for FlyQuest. I think ultimates are going to be a big factor coming to this final round. We've got double showstoppers, but honestly, Wadada are probably going to read that FlyQuest just avoid the A site like the plague after getting cut down on A short 2 times in a row. I certainly wouldn't want to go back.
No, but I think they're ahead of that because look at where Arya's headed now.
Yep, it's a perfect read.
Yep.
They can put all the stall over towards the A site. They're not even going to show a forward fight, I don't think. Maybe Juna puts down a B long smoke, but I'd almost like it if they hid this a little bit more. Oh, it's just to grab the orb. Perfect. Now we've got
That was for
Rimmel.
Juna. Yep. Really good position to take map 1 here.
Realistically, I'm sort of looking at Lace in this round. I'm telling you, when I came into the match against FlyQuest, everything was about locking down her lurks over towards the A site. Very often, she would throw a Fade Eye Showers, then prowl down A short. This time, it's a Flash and Showers with the Sky, dog down A short, go back for a little peek. So
It's interesting, though, because we've had all this conversation around Bob, and it's Bob who has the ult.
It's true.
But Eyes going towards Lace, I think, makes a lot of sense, too.
I was hoping she
way.
was going to go for a lurk, but FlyQuest are just
Yeah.
going back into an A finish. They're going 5 into short. Luckily, there's no Odin here this time, so they might have a chance to get through.
No, but there is an op and there is a sound sensor. And that thing's gone off. Oh,
Okay.
Bob had the high ground. Continues
Bob.
with the high ground, gets a second kill.
Not too shabby. There's a deadlock wall in back sight. Bob's getting the plant, as a matter of fact. They're orb maxing. They think Bob might have an ult in round 24 when she just used it.
Do they commit? I mean, they have the money. They have plenty of money. No reason
Yeah,
not
you
to
might
go
as well
for it.
play it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you risk giving orbs away, but either way, it seems like the decision has been made. Power Pit's
Hello?
going backside and 2 kills found. They might crack this thing open. Bob with 3, though. Traded back. Arya left alone. Odin, Rocket, a 1v3. And the chance to take map 1. Slight and not coming through this time around. FlyQuest gets to 10. Actually, though, Christy, yes, FlyQuest won the round, but the way they won the round could actually be disastrous. They lost, 2 guns there? They don't have a ton of money.
Yeah, okay, it looks like they have enough to get the full buy coming in. It's very close. I think at worst they have maybe a player with light armor. Had they lost more, it could have gotten a lot worse. But Sandra finding that kill at the end is meaningful. So they're going to be fine. The big issue is Wadada are snowballing into their ults. So the next 2 rounds, FlyQuest have a lot to deal with. And again, it's not going to be as easy as just raise rocketing into the site. Bob can't tap into that again.
No one there to clear the drone, for unstable, so they know that much.
So, okay, Lace showed the same Sky Flash towards Showers. Didn't show the dog on short, because FlyQuest want to split back into the B site.
I love how they're stacking the sensors with the chamber trips. If you want to clear the chamber trip, the sensor's going to go off, and then they instantly drop terror missiles right on top of that.
Hello, ultimate into sight. Good nade. Was that Astralis with a cross map?
I believe so.
Wait, no, that was a self trap from Sonder. They're stalled out. Now Wadada in back sight.
They still have 50 seconds in the round, though. They can flip this, or they can just walk into the crosshairs of Starbound. They cannot stay here.
Oh, no way. Starbound still gets one on the way out.
2 kills found. Damage dealt. And now
30
FlyQuest
seconds left.
down in numbers.
Oh no, they're TPing straight into a trip. There's still a Astralis up in heaven. What did I've already anticipated the rotate over? 20
hang on,
seconds
though.
left.
They've
They're trying to
inserted
go
Lace.
around the world and TP
Yeah,
back
Lace-
into B.
Lace's position's big, but the shoulder betrays her. Carpet's now knows where she is. Lace is
10
dropped,
seconds left.
and that is probably it. That's probably the map. 7 seconds left. So much weaponry there. So much artillery. Saunders left in a 1v2, 2 HP. Spike planted, but that's such a brutal way for that to go. Wadada will take bind.
A ridiculous round at the end. I mean, FlyQuest, they put up a much better fight than the last time these teams faced off against each other, but Wadada consistently in the first half finding all those opening picks to here sort of seeing through it, and whether it was Sleepy Aria's Odin on A short or the operator in the hands of Starbound, they figured out what they needed to start off this series right.
I mean, again, plenty of opportunities for the map to go the other way. We kept talking about how it felt like, yeah, they've got the money, they've got the momentum, they have the ult, and somehow Wadada was just able to navigate those consistently and walk away with the map of win. Map 1 win. Map 2 on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Oof, stuck paying for that old phone? Don't be. You know, at Verizon, we'll pay off your phone. And you'll get iPhone 16 on us. That's a value of up to $1,600, only on Verizon.
It's for you. Do you like it? Come on, Charlie. Use your new door. Come on, let's go. I said go. Let's go. Silly dog. I'm going to trade you for a cat. Red Bull gives you wings.
The new Red Bull Zero is here. 100% wings with monk fruit extract.